Ribbit. I'm going to run PowerShell. Control-Shift-Enter to elevate it. And I'm trying to SSH into another Windows machine. I want to say like around 2015, Windows put SSH into their system for PowerShell. And so we can check this with Get-WindowsCapability online, where object name like *SSH*. And I misspelled online. Right there. You can see on this machine that the client is installed by default. You have to turn on the server if you want it. I do not want it on here. If I did though, then you just add almost this right here. So you just add the Windows capability. So add Windows capability online, and then name, and give it this right here, the server. So then that would install it. I'll escape because I don't want that. And then you could say get service. Well, after you install it, you can say get service, yeah, to see if it's on there. It's not on here. So what I'll do is I'll start up a Windows terminal. I'll run tmux just to give me more Windows. And then I'm going to SSH into this laptop over here. And if I remember this guy's password, this is an account that I just created for this, so a lot of stuff won't be set up, so hopefully I won't have to change too much stuff around here. So now, by default, when you SSH into the Windows machine, you're going to be running CMD. One way to tell that it's not PowerShell right off the bat is it doesn't have PS in front of it, but I can't use the ls command. So if I say PowerShell, notice the PS over here, but they have this. Another way to know is if you type some gibberish, then PowerShell is going to give you all this junk thrown up at you, versus CMD, which will say something like command not found, and so would bash. If I wanted to start WSL, I could do this. It'll open up in my home directory, and then I'll start running WSL. So over here, if I say get service SSHD, it's not going to work because it's going to tell you it can't find it, but this is not elevated. This Ribbit doesn't have admin privileges. So I'm going to say Control BC, SSH Ribbit face at 192.168.1.76. And then this guy's password's different. And then we'll open up PowerShell. See right here if I type gibberish. So PowerShell. And sneaky way to get an admin PowerShell. So get service SSHD. You can see that the service is running. So you could say stop service and start service. So earlier, if I would have said, after I installed that, if I did, I could have said start service SSHD. If I wanted to set it, you could say set service, I think it is. Yeah, set service, name, SSHD, and then startupType. Automatic. And then it will automatically start it up. I don't want that, so I'll escape out of there also. And then the thing to keep in mind here is when you log in, the way stuff is running. If I just hit CD, it shows where you are. So getting around here might be funky. So here is fine. But if I was to SFTP in here, which I'll go ahead and say Control-BC and start a new window, and then cd.ssh, and then inside here, I want to go ahead and I think try that command. There's another video for FreeBSD if you want to see how to set all this up for creating an SSH key, but if I say copy ID and then -I, and then what I want to put over there is rivet hole. So now I want to be able to .pub, of course, and then rivet at .192.168.1.76. So yeah. Then let's go ahead and try to do this. So you see, because I'm running Windows rather than a Nix of some type, then it freaks out. So I'm going to have to copy this over manually. And there could be several ways. Like I could have just put it in an authorized keys file already, I guess would have been the smart thing to do, but let's go ahead and say SFTP, and then I think it's okay to do that right now. It won't be in a minute. Okay, so if I type pwd, notice this right here first off. So this is something to keep in mind. If you, earlier I could say cd c colon whack, but here I gotta say /c colon / users rivet. So keep this in mind. You need to type this to be able to cd around if you're gonna change directories or go somewhere. The easiest way to see what you gotta do is just type pwd, which isn't a cmd command. If I was to go back over there, it wouldn't be there. So this is like SFTP has its own little commands we can run inside it, let's say. So I'm going to make a directory .ssh, and notice this is on my Windows side, not WSL side. This is just the regular old. And then I want to say cd.ssh. Now I'm going to put the rivet hole .pub. Okay, so now let's Control B0 back over to this site over here. And now I created that file on there. I can't do this command. There's no type command inside SFTP. So I'm going to dir, so now I'm in CMD. And then what I'm going to do is put an @ which makes it less verbose. I don't necessarily have to do this, I don't think. But just for like safety's sake, let's say, because you don't want people knowing what your public key is. Oh, because it's rivet hole pub, and then I want to put this in authorized _keys. Because I'm in PowerShell. I don't want to be in PowerShell. I forgot it was in PowerShell. There is a command. We could do this, but let's just go back over here. cd.ssh, and then @type the rivet hole pub into authorized keys. And then now I should be able to say SSH rivet hole, and then now it's asking me for the passphrase, not a password. And then now I can get in here. Once again, I'm in CMD by default. Okay, so the issue is, if I was to go back, Control B0, let's go back into PowerShell. And then what I could have done earlier was to change my shell. So in the registry, let's see, for the registry, we need new item property, and then it's going to be a path, And the registry is hkey local machine. So hkey local machine, and then software. We can tab complete to make sure we're doing this correctly. OpenSSH, and then we want minus name, and then default shell, something new, so we can't tab complete that. But the rest of the stuff, value, we can. And then let's say we want to use bash, because WSL throws a bash in system32. So it's, rather than having to put a path to WSL, we could just say Windows system32 bash.exe is going to be in there. I don't want to type them all out, so let me just put bash. There we go. And then we still have to add, oh wait a minute, I hit the wrong key there. So dash property type. Yeah, property type. And then string. And then we want to force this. Now if I were to hit this, it'll add a registry and make this be there. The problem is this is going to mess up SFTP, and the main reason I get in this machine is to SFTP to it. So I'm going to hit escape because I don't want to do that anymore. And some ways to get around this would be to come back over to a new window. Do I need to be in a new window? The third one, I guess, doesn't matter, because I can exit this. I'm already getting in there without a password. So, because I want to, test this out. So, one way to get around this would be without a remote command yet. We would say SSH -T. And then this is just for like a TTY. -T, telling it to use this, else it's going to hang. And then RH, WSL. If I just do WSL, then it's going to open up WSL in my Windows users directory. I can take WSL like this, tilde, and now I'm going to open up in my WSL. So now we use the passphrase. It takes a little longer. You saw how it took a second because it's running a command, which is WSL, which takes a second to load up. And then now you can see I'm in my WSL directory, let's say a home directory, Rivet's home directory, versus the Windows one, which is C users Rivet. And then you can see that it's not, so cd.ssh, it's not there because it's not the right one, but cd user local etc, let's say. The reason I'm doing that is, notice right here, like I said, I just set this up. I want to say right here is going to be the path. Like it's this prompt's supposed to be showing the path right here probably. So notice how it grew. So I'm just going to say cd back to my home directory, and then vim. Well, this looks like a Z shell prompt, but it's not, so it's bash. So there's going to be a bash RC file here, probably because it's so fancy. And then in the prompt, we want to search for //w because we just want a whack W right there. So this is where I'm at. Right here, you can't really tell my cursor, but I'm right here. And then if we were to see the cursor, So if I say Control B, well, let me get out of here real quick. And then I'll open up tmux again. So I'm now nested in 2 tmuxes since I'm working with this. And then I'm going to say vim.bashrc. Sorry, but I should have just fixed this, but I just want to show it because I'm here anyway. Now if I was to say bb and then split the window, and down here you can see the /w is the path right here, and then this right here is this right here, and so this is the colors right here. And so Control B, O will get me over here. I want to say the 01 means default foreground color. And so I'm going to change this to be 36 for cyan. And I don't know if I want that to be 1 or if I want that to be a 0 inside solarized. So what's happening is the white in solarized, so more than likely the foreground color for solarized, the default one is white, and that's messing this up. So if I save this right here, and I can say Control BBC, then notice it's there. So if I say cd user local etc, then you can see the cyanish color. Now if I want to change that to 1, I want to say Control BBL. I'm going to change this to a 1. Then that's going to make it a little grayer looking, so Control BBC to start another one. And then that's kind of what I wanted. So cd user local etc, let's say. There we go. So now I can close this. Control VBO, exit this one. And then I'll just go ahead and exit this. Now I have the other one open right here. It's the way I wanted it. So let's cd back into my directory over here. So we want to copy that, which we did. We made sure everything worked. SSHing back in it. And then now what I need to do is, should I just exit out of here and then exit back to my machine that I'm at right now. And then I'm going to go into here, and then to make this work where it's easy for both of these, I'm going to go into my config file, and right here I'm going to copy this. And then right here I'm just going to say, oops, for SFTP. Cannot use remote command, else it'll freak out. And so now I'm just going to say ribbit hole F for SFTP, let's say. And normally I'll just say RH. And then over here, what I want to do, we could use a match command to match whether it's SSH or SFTP if we were SSHing into a Linux or Unix box of some sort. But since I'm not, then I'm going to have to use a remote command. And then I guess the first thing, let's just put the remote command in there, which we've already been putting down there. So the remote command was WSL. I want to start off in my home directory. Now, the problem with this is, if I was going to use that, I'd have to say -t every time that I wanted to go to RH actually, but I don't want that. So I'm going to add a RequestTTY, which is the -t basically. So we're going to request TTY, and we're going to say yes, and then save this. Now, if I just use RH, it'll use this command and take me into WSL. And if I use the RHF, then it's going to be where I can use SFTP, because it doesn't want to use that. So if I quit this, and then now I say SSH, RH, then it'll ask me for the passphrase. Takes a second because it's got to start WSL up. There I am in inside WSL in my home directory. And then if I want to SFTP to RHF, then it'll ask me this. And then notice that I've got my SFTP working. So I think that's the most convenient way to be able to run both of them and not have to set a registry key. Ribbit.